Hello? How'd you do? Got some razors, going to talk some razors for a bit. So I've got this lovely razor here. James Barlow and Sons, manufactured Sheffield, corporate mark, Echo. I did briefly show you this razor before, but it's just turned out lovely. Like, it comes to me in a bit of a state and I just can't believe how well it's tidied up. And just look at the smile on it. Let's just move these out of the way. Look at a great big smile on it. It's just lovely. So whoever's had this before me really knew how to sort a razor out, because they've put this smile on, especially this end. The only thing I've had to do to it was grind a bit off at the heel, because when I was doing my laps, on this side especially I think it just weren't hitting anywhere near the apex, but it was the other side. So I just bread knifed it a little bit, really delicately on a diamond plate, just really delicate until the bevel was hitting on this side, and then got honing, and it's just turned out to be, it's almost like it's perfect for my style of laps. I'm still unsure whether these scales are horn. I think they are. I'll find out soon anyway, because I think I'm going to sort of rejuvenate them a bit anyway, because they're in a bit of a sorry state. Like, that's a bit loose and everything. But anyway, it's up to 12,000 now. Look at the bevel on it. See it glimmering? Sure you can. Bloody massive. It's just a lovely razor though. I'm so happy I found it. So I bought that in a lot of about 33 razors, and I was after this razor. Let's just move all these out of the way quick. I'll get them back in a minute, because I want to talk a little bit about all of them. Yeah, so I was chasing that razor. This is the razor I was chasing out of all the 33. I had no intentions to keep any other ones. And again, this has just turned out to be a very different razor to what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be a Sheffield wedge, like that. And that's the reason I was chasing it, really. Because I've been chasing a few sort of Sheffield wedges. And this is a Joseph Wolstenholme and Sons, not to be confused with Mr. George. Well, George Wolstenholme. They were going for a while, nowhere near as long as George. And again, this is one that I'm going to take apart, I think, because I'm not sure whether it had a lead wedge here at all, because one side of the horn is kind of shaped. I don't know, I just can't make it out. Whatever way anyway, it's deteriorated and it's a bit loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very delicately take these off, sand them very delicately as well, and I think that'll go nearly see-through, because it's heading towards see-through anyway, and I reckon that's muck and dust that's got into the horn a little bit, especially on the inside. But either way, it'll tidy up. Sorry for the sirens. But yeah, look at this blade, look. So this is one of the thinnest holograms I've ever seen. And I've seen so many thin ones, you know. I've been playing around with Swedish steel for a long time now, and some of their grinds are just so thin. Like the MK series, MK30, well the MK, I think it was MK29 was just the most extreme I've ever seen. And I say that, and this tennis has as well, I must say. But it's just got the most tiniest, and it's almost like I've had to be quite delicate in the way I handle it on the stones, because it flexes tremendously. So I'm interested to see how it shaves. Totally just not the razor I thought it was going to be. Really isn't. It's quite light in the hand. You know, it's got a chunky shank as well, but they've just took all the metal out of there. It's got my most favourite kind of toe grinding though. It's a bit similar to my Parker. Gold Rex did it as well, and some other Sheffield makers. You know, some people did this as aftermarket as well, and wet grinders and whatnot. But yeah, it's just lovely. It catches the light really well. It's just turned out lovely. It's just, can't quite believe it really. So I've got a couple of razors in this week for somebody to sharpen. It's a nice Dovo 80, 5/8. It's in really good nick now. I don't think it's barely been used at all. The sort of, well, the bevel it had on it was a bit bitty in places, but it kind of almost looked like it was from the factory. It's a bit of an older Dovo as well, it's not one of the more modern ones. So I'm excited to get that done for the chap. And he sent me this as well, look. It's the first time I've even seen one. It's well, it's a razor. It shaves, supposedly, but not as great as the ones I've sent him before. So it weren't really popping hairs at all when I got it, and I've stropped it just on my normal strop down here, that fast strop, horse strop, and it's popping hairs down in this section down here. But the rest is not. It's got like a bit of a weird belly on it. There's some sort of belly. It's quite a stiff grind. It's sort of, well, I don't know what it is really. It's kind of like half hollow, but not at the same time. It's a strange old grind. It feels a bit strange, sort of handling it as well. It just feels a bit strange in my hands. That's the only way I could put it. But yeah, so I'm going to hone it and see what I can do with it, see if I can get it less rough. It's got a Jnat edge on it, and it does look like a Jnat edge on it. Got this little tiny tennis razor. I've had nothing to do with tennis razors. These are my first ones that I've ever honed, and the steel is amazing. It's really good steel on this razor. It was one time part of a 7-day set. This is Thursday. I just got this random in a lot. But I've been well impressed with the steel. Like, and for something so thin, it's not really flexible, but again it kind of is. It's just really thin though, tiny, and that's really plucking hairs. What we got next? Got a bit of an interesting razor here. I can't find out much about it. It's Sandvik Stahl. Stahl means steel, and it's got Hercules with a little sort of etching thing. Again, the steel is marvellous on this. And if you don't know anything about Sandvik steel, well, they've been going for a long time in various kind of states and everything. And I've had razors that are similar to this, Swedish razors, and they've got Sandvik there on the spine. But yeah, great steel. I can't find anything about it though. I've had a good look. Hercules. I think it's Swedish because Stahl is, I believe, Swedish, or is it German? Anyway, but it comes with more Swedish razors. Great steel. It's honed really well. Got a Bengal cast steel. I don't think this is a TR Cadman one. I think this is a Swedish one. Great razors nonetheless. Swedish steel, you see, so it's great steel. Bengal cast steel. It's honed lovely. Barely used, I don't think. It's got a nice sort of old school shape to it, innit? You know, almost, well, an old-fashioned looking razor to me. Sort of not pre-90s, the 90s. Sorry, not 90s. The 1900s. And I found a lovely razor. So again, this is just a lot of razors. I bought this, well, last week. Got them this week. Most of them are tat. But then I found this gem in it, and this is the first razor I've ever had, and I must have had well over 1,000 now. But this is the first razor I've ever had, and it's genuinely got blonde, transparent, see-through scales. And I just love it. It's my favourite scale pattern. I've been trying to source like decent horn, honey horn, whatever you want to call it. But it's hard where I live. And I can't really see the stamp, but it says, well, the name finishes with N, Brothers, Sheffield, and you can just make out it's hand forged. It's sitting on the stones, lovely. So I'm excited to get shaving with it. I'm excited. It's going to be mine. I'm going to keep this. Just seems lovely. and I might unpin it at some point and try and clean the scales more, but I'm not too bothered by it. It was in a bit of a rough old state when I got it though. You can still see, that's my finger a bit, there's a bit of waxy kind of stuff on it. But there was some scratch marks going like that, and they looked like grinding marks to me. Like, they didn't even look like sandpaper, they looked like grinding marks. So I've had to go to work with it with sandpaper, which I hate doing. And I've got most of them out. The ones that you can see are not my ones. I always make sure I get my sanding marks out if I ever do it, because I just, it's one of my bugbears. I hate it. I hate sanding marks on razors. It really grinds on me a bit. But because this is so old, with lovely scales, with a lovely shape to it as well, it's just one of a, it's a great razor shape for me. It's got something about it, really has. Like I said, it sits relatively nice on the stones. I'd always do a few laps without the tape first, just so I can judge what's happening with the spine a bit. Because sometimes, you know, if it's got a wibbly wobbly spine, you shouldn't be taping it. You need to fix the spine first. And there was a little place I think here or there that weren't really hitting it on the first few laps, but then it was. So I was just like, right, yeah, it's good to go. And it's chasing the bevel nicely. It's on the 1000 grit. I didn't even take it down to the 320, just because it's mine, so I can take time with it. Don't matter. What else we got? We've got this rather lovely Eric Anton Berg, and this is a very nice frame back. And some people call these kind of like second generation frame backs. This one is actually, it made it to 5000, but then I started noticing there was some really tiny little chips, and there was just a bit too many of them for my liking, so it's going to go back to the 2000 and have a bit more work done to it. But it's got this really nice look about it, like different as well. Like again, I've had hundreds of Swedish frame backs, let alone frame backs, but this one's different. It's just it's got a bit different feel to it. And I don't know whether the camera's picking it up, but whoever made this razor gave it some special attention, because I've never seen one quite like this. So it's got like this dull band there, you can see it I think, especially if I do that. And then it's got this sort of brighter band down here, and then obviously you've got the bevel. Well, that translates when you try and look down the actual razor. So whoever had this, or well, I think it was done in the factory by the actual person that made it, they've not cared too much about that part of the razor, and obviously the bit that fits into the actual spine, but then they paid special attention to this band down here, and it really makes it look, well, to me, quite pretty. It really does. It's a fine razor, man. Patent 1895, and it's got something I can't quite make out there. Oh, Gulla Medal, Stockholm, 19, what is it with me today, 18, is it either 87 or 97, and then Paris, 1900. So it was made probably after 1900, wasn't it? Because otherwise the stamp wouldn't be there. Because it'd be in the past, or the future. It's just a really lovely razor. It's got something about that one. Not seen many like that. And here we got, well, just a big old croppie. You know, you get involved in razors, you get to see a lot of crops over the years. And I think they did kind of pump out some quite large ones. Like if you see, we're talking nearly 22.5 mil, 23 mil, somewhere around that mark. And this has only come off the stones on the 8000. And it's like a laser. Actually, all these razors, other than that Eric Anton Berg, but this one, especially when I did the old HHT, just seemed nice and aggressive all the way along. It's just plucking them. Them whiskers are not going to survive that razor, are they? No. Nice razor, man. Good old crop. I've got one upstairs somewhere in my old keeper pile. This is also a stubby. that I found. And this is my stubby, this is. Like I've probably got, well, I've got these stubbies here as well, look, I'll show you. Seeing as this has got some like a leather wax on it because it's horn scale, so I'm just trying to nourish it a bit. Here's my stubbies. I've got some more stubbies somewhere, but these are the ones I'm kind of just working on a bit. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. I might give up working on these two and just sell them, because I'm not planning on keeping them, because, well, I don't collect stubbies, but I do want one, if you know what I mean. So this is the one I'm going to keep. Excuse the tape. It's got H. Williams on it, London made. So it's pretty special to me. You know, I live kind of near London and everything, and I've got, well, a bit of London blood and stuff, and it's just beautiful. Really is. It's the best one I've ever found, like in terms of shape and condition. Like these scales will come out a little bit more as well, because again I've covered these in the leather conditioner as well, because I think it's got to do some help to it in some way. H. Williams, I know nothing about it. It seems like it's going to hone quite well. There is, or at least there was, some little tiny microchips at the toe there, but not to worry. It'll be a slow job, man. And then we've got this one. I don't know what it's, well, does it say real? I don't know. But look at the lovely sweeping edge on it. It's really not hitting this, I guess a pen. It's really not hitting like this part of the heel. So I figure it's just something you should give up on, really. And just, you know, just use that part of the blade, because when it comes along, beautiful steel. Again, this had some little pitty bits that I'm just gradually trying to get out and take my time on it. It's such an old razor, it's lovely. Lovely to work on. Bloody great steel as well. Like, you know, I know I've said it before, but people go on about, oh, modern steel this, modern steel that. The things that these men knew, it's just amazing. And then we've got this little one, and it's got, I don't know if you can see it, it's only got one little epoxy stamp, and it's a W. Is it a Wade? Is it a W Greaves? Please help out. I will put it on a forum. There's a marvellous thread on Straight Razor Place, and it's like 53 pages long, dedicated to like stubbies and everything. And if I was going to guess, out of all these razors, what one's the oldest, chaps? Well, just going from the tail, I would say this one that's stamped W. Is it a Wade? Possibly. Is it a W Greaves? Possibly. But there's probably other ones that were a W, weren't they? William, you know, really popular British name back in the day. And then finally for today, just showing a bit of show and tell before I get doing the honing, I've got another 7-day set, and I'm going to have a conundrum soon, because I've got 3 7-day sets and I'm only allowed to keep one, because it's just way too much indulgence for me, and I'm quite a frugal man in a way. But I found one with my favourite bloody Solingen mate, didn't I? Just popped up, and I was just like, damn man, got to have it. So I did. Box is in a right old state. I don't think I'm going to touch that, because it's not my speciality, so if I do end up selling it, yeah, it can be for the next person. But look at these gents. This is the only one that's got a bit of a dodgy scale. Easy fix. I'll just drill it out, bit of sanding. Bob's your uncles, fanny's your aunt. But look at them, eh? What a grind pattern. It's like one of my favourite. I've got some Joseph Elliott's. These are about 21, 22 mil. Well, yeah, but it's sort of, well, it's in between 21 and 20 mil, I think. But just look at them. All I've done to these as well is hand polish them with a bit of just normal old metal polish. Most of them are really sharp. 2 of them have got tiny little microchips. One of them has got some actual genuine damage though, that's been corrected. Look, so that's been ground. That's been ground off. What day is that? Tuesday. So that must have had some, well, tip damage, toe damage. But they've done an alright job. I will, if I do end up selling them, I will correct that a little bit more, because there's a few lines I can see which I'm not too happy with. And I've done that work now, so I know what I'm at with that. I feel confident with that. But yeah, it's just all lovely, man. Just full on lovely. The number on them is 57, which I can't find nothing about. But there's a dude who sells razors in America, and he's got a 574, and it looks nearly the same as these. Is this the one with a little microchip? Yeah, that's the one. That's one with a little microchip. Sunday. Some of them look barely used. There's one of them that's got a little bit sort of more homeware than the others. But a lot of these like that homeware is basically factory. Yeah, well, I don't know actually, was that one? But anyway, just lovely bloody razors, man. I couldn't believe it. It's just, well, special. Special to me anyway. Just lovely blades. Right, so enough of that. Let's have a little look at this. So chuffed I found this razor, I really am. Like I said, bought a lot of, don't know, 33, 34 razors. And I could see this, you know, and I could see that it was James Barlow. And I know James Barlow, like, well, not personally. He's very much dead now. But, you know, so I kind of, I understood that it could be a nice razor and everything. And I did actually find ones with these scales, on, you know, online and everything. So they're out there to find. But it looked in a right old state. And when I got it, it was in a right old state. And you can see that it was. So there was all sorts of pitting and horrible stuff here. And I can't quite believe how well that's come out on the stamp. I thought I was going to end up losing stamp if I went too crazy on it. And I didn't really go, you know, mad on it. There was some real bad pitting there, bit of pitting there. There was some bad pitting on the spine. But it's polished out. Like, and you can still see the natural factory grind marks, so it's not like I've gone mad on the polisher. It so happens that it just wasn't attached to the razor too much, possibly. Oh, do you know what I have today as well? I got some Nagorda news for anybody that cares. I've had to write it down because I'm bloody terrible with names. I've got a coma coming, a coma. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I've got another Magiro coming, which I'll probably end up selling because that's my Magiro, and I think that's going to last the rest of my life, and kids and grandkids if I had them. So I've got another Magiro coming. The Magiro, Botan, and Tenjo come as a set, so I had no choice with that Magiro, and it's from the same seller, so I was just like, make it a bit easy to get in here. It's a bit costly, but I've got all of my slurry stones now. I like getting things, so I mean, I'm just set. I'm done. I don't have to think about it anymore. I sold some razors this week, so they're paying for it. It's my level 5 Jnat. I don't know. It's got a stamp on it. And I have put it out there on a forum, but I basically got no help whatsoever. But I have got what I could call a new razor friend that is from Japan, so I might get him to have a little bit of an investigation if he could. He's done some marvellous, well, like honing videos as well. He really knows his stuff for the honing, man. I feel like I've got a little bit better with my edges again this week, so we've had another week of progress with my edges. Like this thing, and it's why the reason it's made me love it in a way, is on the 1,000 stone. I normally always at the 1,000 stone I use my thumb, like my thumb is my initial kind of tester. I don't really use my thumb sort of heading towards the 2,000 or anything, but at 1,000 I use my thumb as a bit of a tester, and this thing was gripping my bloody thumb like nobody's business. I ain't kidding you. It was, every time I did it I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So it's got a good edge. So this is a 12,000 edge. I took this razor and the Joseph Walston home up to 12,000. The others are at 8,000. And they're popping hairs like nobody's business. And that's like straight off the stone as well, so that bodes really well. let's have a little look at this edge for you. I took a video of this as well. I've been taking videos of every stage of this progression on this razor, and that Joseph Wilson home as well. You know, it's just from my own interest really. I like it. It's it interests me, so that's why I like doing it. So I'm just getting the stamp in the old stamp in the shot. It's not the most easy, even though it's got a whacking great big bevel on it. It's not the most easiest razor to kind of find the detail. It's like the way it's reflecting back. But as you can see there, she's got a very nice edge. It looks like it's nearly like there's them old scuff marks that I told you about on another video. It's just, yeah, it's come along great. And well, to me that's damn near mirror finish. Oh, that's 12,000. So you could go a bit more with it. You know, it's old Martin Test Shaves. He's got a 20,000 that I've seen. So that must mirror it even more in a way. But yeah, great old thing. Old razor as well. James Barlow. They're pretty old razors. Alright, let's get some slurry going. Let's not do that motion. So I'm excited to get my new Nagoras. Let's try them out. I'm gonna just set the bevel. I'm gonna go to a 2000 when I get them and see what I can do. See what I can do going through some stones. Like obviously I'll test this stone first because it's my most familiar stone to me, like natural stone, and just see what they do really. I've been wanting to get like one of what they call like sort of a coarser grade for a long time, and then I'll just see this coma term up, sorry, and then I'll see he had some others. So I was like, hey, let's send an offer. Let's see what we can do. I will finish that Joseph Wilson home today, but I'm not going to do it on camera. I've got stuff to do. I'll do it later. I've got to do some posts as well. I sold quite a lot of razors this week. I'm going to sort of change how I sell my razors soon. I've got way too many just waiting to be honed, so I'm going to have to do something a bit different, but I'll figure that out in the next couple of weeks. Get a little bit more going than usual. That's quite a bit for me, but I figure we've got a big wide bevel, and from my experience with the Joseph Rogers, like I thought to myself I should have gave that a bit more after I did it. So it's just like it was built for my laps. It really was. This edge, this is like almost like my natural kind of flow to what I normally just naturally do. It's like I've got a running, oh, well, I've said it before, but I've almost got like a running joke inside my head that every razor I own, especially the ones that I plan on keeping kind of forever, they're all just going to end up smiley eventually. Like they're not, because, well, if it's great steel, you barely have to ever reset the bevel really, if you know how to look after a razor. I shaved with that Dorco 14 I did the custom scales with, and well, I think that possibly is the best razor I've shaved with. That definitely beats my Philly. I might have to have a little look at my Philly edge, see if I can see any improvements I can have. But it was just tremendous, man. something that's got such a wide bevel, it don't feel like it's oh, I just did it again, sort of grabbing the stone at all. And that's because even though it's got a really wide bevel, there's not much point of contact, is there really? Because it truly is like a rolling X stroke to the extreme. Like you can hold it, look, you can hold it relatively, you know, like tight to the stone. You don't have to accentuate your rolling X strokes too much. As soon as I took a bit of metal away from the heel, it just worked wonders, man. Really got sort of the meat of the metal back in touch both sides. It just started meeting lovely. There was a few little micro chips, and they were that tiny. I just left them there because, like I said, at 1000 it was biting so hard. I just kind of thought, well, that's way smaller than the size of a hair anyway. But lo and behold, through the process of going through the stones, it's got rid of them anyway, on the whole I think. I can barely notice them now anyway. I gave it a little bit more attention than I kind of normally would at the 5000. Just because it's got such a large wide bevel, I just felt like it needed a tiny little bit more chasing. And by giving it that little tiny bit more time, I think it did help, because it got rid of some more serrations and whatnot, and scratch marks, especially towards the very apex. Feels like about what I'd normally do, so I'm just going to give it a little bit more. I'm not too worried about doing the tiny little V strokes and whatnot at this stage, because like I said, the point of contact with this razor's through the lap is a bit more minimal compared to other razors. But we'll do some. Just flows lovely. You do come across the odd thread, don't you, on the internet that says, you know, Sheffield steel, too soft, all crap. I do still come across the odd thread. It's just I don't think they really know what they're on about. Because some of these old Sheffields are just some of the best like shavers I think ever bloody, you know, invented. And they certainly did not use soft steel. When you slow it down like that, you can feel it biting a bit more. Especially there. It's just like a freaking laser. Right, let's have a little look at this under the old scope and let's make a bit of a form of a judgment on it. Does it need a bit more slurry time, or I definitely gave that, well, it feels like I gave that a little tiny bit more than I normally would. Somebody said to me the other day, do I sort of count lats and that, and it's like, no, I don't. I never really have either. I almost just do it until I can't be bothered. It's almost like my attention sort of tells me. Right. So I'd say, yeah, I think that's enough slurry, isn't it? It's quite frosty. It's a good scratch, but I think some of them are just the scratches. Definitely there anyway. Look, there's the old, whoa, shark's teeth. So let's move forward. I think that I'm happy. I've still got some stones I'm planning on testing. It's just getting round to it. I've had such a backlog of razors, like, because I didn't really do much honing through the summer. I did get doing more of my building, and then when winter comes I'll just do a bit more honing. Wow, it feels super slidey, that does, it feels like glass. Wasn't expecting that, it felt like the razor went at super speed. Wow, it really is quite a different feel to it. Gonna have a quick look at that. I'm planning on giving it more, but I just want to have a little look just from my own. Yeah, it's definitely getting a bit. I reckon it's going to be a wonderful shave. teaching myself how to use my left hand as well. I'm getting better. I can trust myself going to like the higher grits a bit more now. I still can't do my V's anywhere near as quick as I can do them with my right hand. But they've definitely got more consistent and even pressure, which is what you've got to hope for when you first start if you want to swap your hands. I don't guess many people will want to, but that's definitely quite different. That's starting to bump about a bit now though, that is. Definitely a different experience because it's such a, it's probably, is it one of the biggest smileys I've ever done? It probably is actually. Especially as the spine does match it to a point. They do act a bit different on the stones, they're just that you don't get some of the feedback. Or it's a bit different. Pardon me, mate. Right, well, I think that's got to be somewhere near. But let's have a look. I've had to start doing this because I was recording edges, and then by the time I'd got onto my computer and whatnot, I'd lost track of what edges were what. So now I've just quickly put the stamp on there. And yeah, well, to me, that kind of looks like my stones. It probably would go a little bit shiner, I think, wouldn't it, if I kept on going at it. But hopefully this is where the coma comes in a bit. I'm hoping that goes after the Magiro, but you don't know until you get, there's a bit of a watermark on the edge there. You don't know until you get your Nagoras and whatnot, how they're going to perform. That's the fun of it, and sometimes the heartache of it as well. See what I mean about it's hard to get it focused, even though it's a great big fat wide bevel. It's quite hard. It goes all the way to the tip though, doesn't it? Yeah, it's definitely tamed it a bit though, the Jnat. Because after the 12,000, it was trying to rip your skin off. Can't remember if I showed that under the microscope now. Oh well, don't matter if not. I can always edit it in if I didn't. Right, that's it chaps. That's all I wanted to do today. Put a new edge on a mighty fine old razor. A Mr. James Barlow Sons, Sheffield, corporate mark, Echo. And by all accounts, I think they did some great razors. Right, I love you and leave ya. Toodaloo.